Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Self-Published Success, a show that highlights forward-thinking authors who chose self-publishing over traditional and found success in doing so. My name is John Feldman, founder and CEO of Visionary Literary, and your host for today's show. Our guest today is Meghan Murray. Meghan is a founder and educator in the food space. As a home chef, Meghan uses her knowledge from her dad, who is a retired chef, and certifications from the Cordon Bleu to educate clients, provide confidence in the kitchen, and to self-publish her first cookbook titled Summer Sizzle Cookbook. Meghan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Meghan. So that was a very brief intro. Tell us a little bit more about you, about your desire for cooking, how you came to be where you are now, and then why you wanted to write a book.
Yeah, so I think as a chef's daughter or a child of a chef, you spend a lot of time like cooking with them. So for me, food has been integrated. It's how I show love. It's how I show support. And that came from a really early age. And it wasn't until I graduated from college and had been diagnosed with PCOS and was really thinking about the types of foods that I was eating and ingredients that I found kind of a renewed passion in food. And it, kind of fast forward the past few years, how do you navigate that passion? And that turned to really identifying that people don't know a lot of kitchen basics that I was fortunate enough to learn as a kid. So that's where that kitchen confidence comes from, of just making sure people feel comfortable knowing how to broil. I learned that some people don't know how to broil, and that's fine. Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. So that's we try to keep it really educational and fun, because that's, I think, how food should be. It should be a really comforting kind of learning tool. So the cookbook came about because I just kind of felt something in my stomach that I wanted to deliver something like that. I love reading cookbooks. It's always a section of a library or a bookstore that I go to. And I just felt really called to do that. So it's just been really an adventure in the past few years.
Good. Well, thank you for that. So a question that I have that the audience will have is,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit more about PCOS, what it is, and why it's so important to your mission? Because it's on your website, it's a part of your story. Why is this so important related to what you do?
Yeah, so PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's a endocrine disorder that affects, I believe, the most recent statement was like 1 in 10 women.
Hmm.
And I got diagnosed when I was 14. I'm 29 now, and the research that was available just, like, quite frankly, just wasn't. And so that's why I really make sure to put it out there that, I've gone through learning about it. Um, Research has come a long way since then, but really that I've gotten a lot of messages like, what do I do? How do I eat? Da, da, da. And I'm not a doctor by any means, but there's currently not a cure for it. So there are options through medication. I chose, after some trial and error personally, to really focus on foods that are anti-inflammatory, that help cortisol levels, things that people with PCOS tend to deal with. So higher stress, digestive issues, things of that nature.
That's very interesting. And it's good because so obviously your dad being a chef, like you have this experience, you have this passion, and then you're able to kind of niche it a little bit
Yeah.
into what helps you and helps others like you. So if people are reaching out and asking you questions, that's always an amazing thing, because it's always so nice to help people who are curious. Speaking of curious and curiosity, I'm curious as to your book. Obviously you wanted to write this thing. It was an idea of yours.
Yeah.
Where did you begin? Because so based on the self-published success show
Yeah.
and theme, when you thought of a cookbook, did you think, I need to find a literary agent, I need to find a publisher, or were you like, I just want to write a book?
It was more the latter. I kind of
Okay.
thought that finding finding an agent or finding someone to publish me was out of the question because I didn't have experience in that field. So feeling like I really want to do this, how do I do this? And feel a little bit of imposter syndrome in that space. It just kind of called me and say, you know what, we're just gonna do it ourselves, right? Because there's no better learning tool than I think doing it yourself. And so I kind of felt that that was out of my reach. So that's what led me to self-publish.
Well, that it's very common for that. One of the questions that we ask on the show and that I ask many people is that, like, why did you pursue a literary agent or a publisher? And so many people, it's funny that you mentioned imposter syndrome, because I feel like I say those two words multiple times a day.
Yeah.
But everyone has that, right? And you coming
Yeah.
from, again, you have a lot of experience going back to your dad being a chef and you and your experience prior to finding your niche. Like, you could easily create a cookbook. But again, there are so many logistics and competition and marketing. There's a lot to it that the traditional publishing houses would have to discuss with you that you wouldn't be aware of. So
Right.
you decided, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. I'm just going
Yeah.
to start writing. I'm going to put together these recipes and I'm going to do it on my own. So what was your,
Yeah.
for anyone who is considering a cookbook, because again, this is different from if you want to write your first novel, you can write the manuscript. You can have everything there.
Yeah.
It's easy to find online how to format a manuscript. Other than that, it's all your words.
Yeah.
But for you, a cookbook is different. It's not as easy to find that information online. So what were your first steps?
My first steps were, what kind of cookbook did I want to put out?
Okay.
I chose seasonal because we were going into summer. I was going to be cooking those recipes anyway. So I kind of teeter between seasonal and level of like beginner, intermediate kind of thing. And then I like to kind of consider how everyone learns. And I know that sometimes I read instructions and I'm like, what were you trying to convey? Because I know that I did not pick up what you were putting down. And so I added a video component to mine. So every recipe had a QR code that went to a private YouTube video, because I felt like if someone could read it and understand it, that's great. But if someone's doing it with their kids, or if someone just doesn't fully understand, then they have a video to watch me do it with them. And hopefully I'm not too embarrassing, but hopefully they feel like there's like a buddy in the kitchen with them. So I wanted to make sure that it was recipes that I would make for my friends and family. It was the way that I would learn. And that really started to pave its own way for me.
That's excellent. And that's very smart too, because cookbooks are, again, it's geared toward one way of learning.
Yeah.
And again, YouTube is huge. Putting QR codes in to combine those two, very, very smart idea. For
Thank
anyone
you.
watching this and not listening, this book next to me, we have QR codes as well. It's such a valuable resource to, again, connect the video, the visual, and the video components. So yeah, congrats on that. So when after after you go through and you realize how to publish your book, what's happening, what were your, if you can remember, one or two major roadblocks where you were like, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? This is not going to happen, or the like.
So I work full time outside of all of this. So that was a roadblock in and of itself, because I would work 9 to 5 and then gear up pretty much for the rest of the evening to cook 4 or 5 recipes, or to type them out, or to edit the videos. So that was a roadblock. And also, I've never edited videos. I mean, short, like Instagram Reels or a TikTok, sure, not a 1 to 3 minute video. So that was a big that was a big learning lesson.
Good. So when going into the book, into formatting the book,
Yeah.
cookbooks have a very specific format.
Yes.
Did you find that there was a piece of software that automatically formatted that, or were you formatting manually inside like Microsoft Word? How did that go about?
Yeah, I used Canva for a lot,
Okay.
from editing the videos to building the QR codes and to kind of formatting, kind of using some of their templates and kind of combining what I liked, what I envisioned
Yeah.
with some of the existing templates that were there.
I have Canva up in both this monitor that we're on right now and my other monitor on the side.
It's a
Canva is
great tool.
it is a fantastic tool, and
Yeah.
for the paid version, which is
Oh
$14
yeah.
a month that I have, it is it's like you're stealing. So
Yeah.
yeah, for anyone listening, whether you're doing cookbooks or any kind of graphic design, Canva is a fantastic resource. I'm glad that you found that.
Mhm.
When it came to publishing,
Mhm.
did you how did you go about publishing? Did you go just through Amazon? Did you go through any other areas? How did you get your book out?
So I I have friends with a couple different creators who were using Stan.
Okay.
And so I ended up speaking with them. And it felt like the easiest thing to navigate. I have a blog, and adding a plugin and trying to figure out how to do that seemed really overwhelming in a process that I already felt kind of out of my element in. And so using Stan and having it be a digital download was so easy. It took a lot off my plate.
Good, good. Yeah, so there are always different avenues to go. Again, when you're
Yeah.
stuck, you have never written a cookbook, never published a cookbook, never designed it, and you just decided to find these different tools and resources, and you got your book out there. So
Yeah.
your once your book is out, what has it done for you from a career perspective,
Mhm.
right, like trying to grow your brand, and
Mhm.
then also from a mental perspective, being done and kind of having that checked off of your to-do list.
Yeah, it was definitely just an overwhelming feeling of excitement, like when you're a
Yeah.
little kid and you just like are so excited about something. That's how I felt when I published it, because it felt like you really, if you've achieved something that you've wanted to and maybe put off because you weren't ready for a long time to
Right.
do. Um, it definitely validated my feelings of I'm kind of carving my way in this industry. And even if I left, I don't have a degree in culinary arts, or I'm still learning what I bring to the table, and this work validates kind of my place to grow, where maybe I didn't always feel that I had etched that out. So I would say that it definitely made me feel, stronger in that space.
Good, good. And just so you know, when you say you're still learning, there are obviously you're only 29, so there's still a
Yeah.
ton to learn. But even some of the people that we speak with here or that we've worked with as clients are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they still, as much as they have accomplished, they still kind of have that same mindset of I still have so much to learn. Um, so it's good that well you have that mindset to carry with you
Yeah.
for many years. But now that you are a published cookbook author, tell people where can people find your book or find more about you online? Where can people find you?
Yeah. So across social channels, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I'm Megsville Plate. I have a blog, megsvilleplate.com. And really my cookbook is linked in all of those.
Excellent. And then what's next for you? Is there another book on the line? What's coming down the pipeline?
I just designed some aprons, which was
Nice.
another project. I think I had a couple years ago this mindset of, oh, I want to do this, and this. And I kind of pumped the brakes to let's kind of like soft launch those as we go. Um, and so those just launched, which were really cool. They're also housed in the same space as my cookbook. And I think your cookbook is definitely another one is definitely coming down the pipe. I think do we stay seasonal? Do we go with kind of education level? I don't know, but I definitely loved writing and loved that experience and would definitely am excited to do it again.
Good. So, well, two questions. One,
Yeah,
did you use Canva to design the aprons?
I did.
That was a half joke question, but Canva is really amazing. You can create anything on there. But the second question is that being that your current cookbook is seasonal
Yeah.
and you are in the Detroit area,
Mhm.
your Summer Sizzle Cookbook might have a shorter
Yes.
season than most. So, if just a curiosity question,
Yeah.
do you feel like like the title has impacted you or will impact you based on where you are geographically? Like, would you keep that cookbook name, the title, the same if you can go back?
I think I would, um, just because, I didn't really know what I was getting into, and I felt like, what we're heading into summer, let's make it like sizzling, let's make it hot, if you will. And so I don't think I would change it just because I think everything was kind of how it was supposed to be.
Good.
Um, I think that it probably bodes better to have a fall winter cookbook in the future because we see that for more than a few days of the year.
Well, that can be your next book, even though you.
Yes.
All right, Megan. Well, this has been this an excellent conversation. This has been the first cookbook conversation that we have had on the show. So there are many questions specific to cookbook that I asked that I'm sure will be helpful to anyone listening who is contemplating writing their cookbook. So they thank you, and I thank you for taking the time to be a part of this show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Megan.